Jones. 3 people, 2 bullets. Gilbert, Hitler, Pol Pot. Gilbert gets 2 bullets to the head. Spoiler, put Gilbert in the crew with the 2 worst people you know, and he receives both bullets every time. Colleague. Jay, please stop. Jones. LOL, okay. I mean, do I think Todd and Jennifer are evil and that they're breeding little fascists? Yes. Colleague. You were talking about hoping Jennifer Gilbert's children would die. Jones. Yes, I've told you this before. Only when people feel pain personally do they move on policy.
Why she won't say it is not okay and that he must leave the race because J. Jones advocated the murder, Abigail, the murder of a man, a former speaker, as well as his children who were 2 and 5 years old. You have little girls.
I need y'all to do me a favor. Hit that like button, share my videos. Please make sure you subscribe. Make sure your notification buttons are turned on to all. Subscribe to my alternative channel just in case YouTube give me the slip or something. You'll know how to find me. Don't forget to check me out with all the podcasts and follow me on Rumble in the Jungle. All the links are listed below. If you want to donate to my channel, feel free. Those links are below as well. I think we're going over to Virginia, okay, where a guy who's running for Attorney General has went out and said horrible things about a Republican, just confident, this is how confident these horrific Democrat politicians are, was talking about how he fantasized about this Republican getting killed. And his kids, being orphans, and if his kids passed away, just horrible things. And this dude was giving all kind of warnings because he's sending this to a Republican. They're like, look, this is inappropriate. Maybe you should stop. No, I'm going to reiterate that you only will make changes when you feel consequences.
The Democratic candidate running to be Virginia's Attorney General facing brutal backlash this morning after his vile text messages with another state lawmaker were exposed. Democrat Jay Jones wrote about violence against GOP lawmakers and urinating on the future graves of political opponents, even killing a state GOP leader with, quote, 2 bullets to the head. He also wished death upon the Republican lawmakers' children because, quote, they're breeding little fascists and, quote, only when people feel pain personally do they move on policy.
Jones. 3 people, 2 bullets. Gilbert, Hitler, Pol Pot. Gilbert gets 2 bullets to the head. Spoiler, put Gilbert in the crew with the 2 worst people you know, and he receives both bullets every time. Colleague. Jay, please stop. Jones. LOL, okay. I mean, do I think Todd and Jennifer are evil and that they're breeding little fascists? Yes. Colleague. You were talking about hoping Jennifer Gilbert's children would die. Jones. Yes, I've told you this before. Only when people feel pain personally do they move on policy.
Now, this was back before, he was running for Attorney General, where he thought maybe this evil wouldn't come back to bite him. See, that's that Democrat arrogance. And now those text messages then came back. So now the question to all of these Democrats, are you about to condemn this man? Are you going to denounce this man? Are you going to demand that this man get out of the race? And let's hear what they got to say.
And it is an important one to a lot of people, is the issue of Jay Jones. Do you think that he should end his candidacy?
The Republicans want us to concede. Virginia law would make it, if he dropped out, then we would be conceding the election to Jason Mears.
And that's exactly why you're saying we don't want him to drop out. Yeah, you're saying that if it comes down between putting this evil dude in office or letting a Republican win, then we'll take the evil dude who's going to be responsible for, prosecuting folks and all of this stuff. And we'll take him, the guy who wished death on his political opponent, over the Republican. Now, that goes to show a lot about the Democrats' priorities and character. If there were other Democrats competing against him, they probably would tell him to step down. But because it's down to the wire, and they're saying, we'd rather take this dude who just wished death on someone. Yeah, we'd rather take this dude who just, fantasized about political violence over the Republican. And so now I'm going to get out here and prostitute myself. I'm going to get out here and say, yeah, we'll take this dude over them, over the other guy.
It's not going to happen. We got to continue the election. The voters have already begun voting and casting their ballots. What we need to be continuing to focus on is that these two ladies last night, it's not about them. I mean, we have a historic election here in the Commonwealth of Virginia, the first time ever that a woman will become governor of Virginia. The two women had the spotlight last night, and all we want to do is talk about these two men.
All we want to do is talk about these two men. No, we want to talk about the one man who sent out these nasty, stinking text messages. And here you are, we want to talk about these two men. Yeah. And all you want to do is get off those two men. You don't want people going, wait a minute, what did he say? And he kept saying it? He doubled down on this? What kind of evil man is this? And then he had the nerve to come out with some raggedy sorry apology. I'm so embarrassed about what I said. No, you weren't. Yeah, you didn't try to clean that up or, rectify that up until it came out. You're simply upset and embarrassed now because somebody leaked those text messages out there to reveal to everybody what's really in your heart. Now, how can you trust a man that said things like he said to actually be fair and balanced when it comes down to being the top cop in that state? How can you trust that guy? Every Republican that comes up for some type of case or trial, I prosecute them. They're fascists. They're raising, these people right here, they're white and they didn't vote for Democrats, so prosecute. You would have to question every political, or should I say, every prosecutorial decision that this guy makes. If he was evil enough to wish death. Now, there's some things that you can't sit back and walk back that evil. You can't sit back and say, I just had an evil moment. This guy went ahead and he stressed how he felt about that person, talked about urinating on their graves, compared them to all the evil folks in the world and said, if I had a shot to take out the evil person or this guy, I would put the bullet in this guy. Yeah, I would go ahead and use both bullets on this guy instead of taking out these other evil people. Now, you can't sit back and justify that. That's well thought out evil that only comes from the heart. So now let's get to the woman who would be the governor over that guy. See this woman right here that looks like a bird right here. This very skinny, gentle woman who's about to go against Winsome Earle-Sears. We're going to see if the Virginians still have a little bit of common sense left. Now, it looks like they benefited under, Republican governing, and I hope they don't backslide. I hope they don't say, well, you know what, we tried the governor, the Republican governor that seemed to protect the rights of our children in the schools and the bathrooms and stuff. But now we're going to go back to a Democrat. That's the scary part about, these purple states when it comes down to their voters. It's almost like they want to give everybody a shot. And I'm going, no, you got to look at what works and say, let's stick with the formula. Don't sit back and say, I think the nature of the Democrats have changed now. We gave these people a chance and we want to be fair and balanced. No. These folks need to be stumped out of existence when it comes down to politics because their policies are horrible. And this woman right here is going to reintroduce the same crap that got them voted out last time. And watch her try to pretend that, I ain't going to try to do that. They think they're so slick and wordy that people can't see that what you're really saying is the same thing. Yeah, I'm going to do that without saying you're going to do it.
Ms. Spanberger, your time is up. Again, the question was, should transgender girls who are biological males be allowed to use girls' bathrooms and play on girls' sports teams in K through 12?
Y'all see Nose First? Nose First is thinking in her head, oh God, this is the issue that cost the last time. How am I going to finagle my way around this? How am I going to not upset the trans community, which, we've, endorsed and all of the stupidity and stuff? How am I going to do that without also making all the common sense people who voted us out say, oh, heck, now, here we go again. Let's go ahead and keep the Republicans in. So listen to her non-answer.
You have 15 seconds to clarify.
Okay, here we go.
In cases across Virginia, I think it's incumbent upon parents and educators and administrators.
See, here we go. Defer it out. Take it out of my responsibility. I don't want to give you my opinion or what I would do. I'm not going to be assertive as a leader. I'm not going to step in and say, this is nonsense. We're going to make sure we stop this. No, what you want to do is outsource the blame. That's what you want to do. Yeah, so you're not held accountable. Same thing with the Democrats when you ask them about third-term abortion. What's too much? What's too long? Oh, well, that's not for me to answer. That is up to the doctor and And I say, now, wait a minute. You don't have an opinion on that? You can't step in and say, this right here, if I'm elected, I'm going to fight to make sure that never happens. But instead, what do you do? It does up to the doctor and the woman, and I'm not going to interfere with that because I support it. Y'all don't get that? Yeah, I support it, but I can't tell you I support it because it sounds crazy. See? And if people knew I supported it, then people would say, well, I'm not going to support you. So what I got to do is pretend that I'm going to leave that up to the people. But if she gets in, she will go ahead and pass legislation to support that mess. Guarantee you.
In each local community to make decisions locally.
That's what this is about.
Ms. Earle-Sears?
There should never be nude men in locker rooms.
There should never be men in locker rooms. Well, see, in her mind, she's probably thinking I could get away with this statement because when I say never be men in women's locker rooms, I don't see transgender men as men. And they're trans women. Therefore, they're not the category of being an actual man. See, just like I'm okay with these trans women running in women's sports, competing in boxing, swimming, all of that, because they're women. We should treat them just like women. So here she is with that raggedy comment.
Finally have her saying that, but you voted for that.
Ms.
Have you
Earle-Sears.
finally
Ms.
said
Earle-Sears, you were just...
that?
They be forgetting about their vote records. That really says how they feel. See,
intruding on
Are
time
we in
here.
agreement now? Are you
Ms.
going to
Earle-Sears?
tell?
she's getting harassed.
This is Ms. Spanberger's time. I have a follow-up question for Ms. Spanberger.
Let's hear more from Hamburger. Let's hear Miss Hamburger.
Would you rescind the Youngkin administration policy requiring boys and girls to use bathrooms aligning with their biological sex?
Yes.
You have 30 seconds.
Here we go.
My priority would be to ensure that local communities, importantly parents and teachers
That's
and
a yes or
educators, are able to work together to meet the unique needs of each school and each community.
Yes, that's exactly what she said. I will go ahead and rescind that and then kick it out to all our liberal educators who support that mess, who that if they would have outlawed it, would definitely go ahead and allow it to happen. See, so I'm gonna go ahead knowing that if I rescind that and then throw out this lame response of I'm gonna let them all decide it. Well, of course, we already know what they would decide without guidance, without them being forced, because they've operated like that before. That's what made all the parents upset and went into all of these schools. And when they found out that these educators were on some crazy mess, they were like, well, who's allowing this? From the governor down? Oh, well, we better get that governor out. So now here she is trying to answer it without answering it, but Winsome ain't having it.
And that is important. And I say that as a mother of three daughters in Virginia public schools.
Exactly.
And as someone who used to investigate crimes against children. The way that we keep our children safe is by ensuring they are safe in schools, which includes funding law enforcement and public safety.
What? All over the road. Round and round that mulberry bush without answering the question. Now she's talking about keeping our kids safe in schools for all kids and stuff like that and this and that. Now, that only applies, I'm sure, to the kids that are confused about their gender and making them feel safe in these facilities. But forget about the women. Forget about the girls feeling unsafe, feeling awkward. Forget that mess. And we're going to forget the needs of the many and focus on the minorities, the small groups of people. But I think they're going to ask her again.
But Ms. Spanberger, the question was,
Hamburger,
would you rescind the Youngkin administration policy requiring boys and girls to use bathrooms aligning with their biological sex?
Now, if the Virginians don't get it by that third time, they're special. If they can't see that this woman is all for boys being in girls' bathrooms if they think they're girls, by now, if you can't see why she's not directly answering that question, you deserve what you get. If they go out and they vote for this raggedy liberal chick right here, they're going to get the hammer again. They're all going to be mad again, going back down to the school board meetings, upset. And so here's her third shot. Let's see what Ms. Hamburger says.
You have 15 seconds to clarify that question.
The third time.
And my answer is that in each local community,
Same thing?
decisions should be made between parents and educators and teachers in each community. It shouldn't be dictated by politicians.
Just can't say yes? Just can't be bold enough and honest enough to say yes. And you sound like a slimy politician. That is why folks respect Trump. That's why they respect Trump. They like, I know exactly what I'm going to get. You don't know what she is. She's mixed punch. You don't know what's in that. It tastes blueberry, a little orange juice, a little lemonade, but I don't know exactly what this is. So that's her response to that question. So just in case you're up in Virginia, you already know what you're getting. You know what's coming down the pipeline if Ms. Hamburger gets in. But let's see how she addresses some other issues.
Jay Jones has apologized and says he takes full responsibility for those messages. Ms. Spanberger, you have called the comments disgusting and said you condemn violence. The question for you tonight is, were you aware of these messages before they were released publicly? And will you continue to endorse Jay Jones as the next Attorney General of Virginia? You have 60 seconds.
The comments that Jay Jones made are absolutely abhorrent. I denounced them when I learned of them, and I will denounce them every opportunity I get. As a mother, as a public servant, as a candidate for governor, I denounce them. And it is important that candidates always denounce violence on no matter which side of the aisle. Violence, violent rhetoric, we should always be focused and forceful in our denouncement of it.
Are you going to tell him
and importantly, my opponent unfortunately only denounces violence when her side is the target.
Don't lie like that,
into the
Abigail.
future, she will endeavor to denounce violent rhetoric and violence no matter who the victim. And tonight, Lieutenant Governor Earle-Sears, I will say, you routinely refer to me as your enemy.
Just please give her a chance to respond.
You routinely refer to me as your enemy. I'm not your enemy. You are not my enemy. We are political opponents, and tonight voters are here to listen to the policy differences that we have. So as we move forward, we must continue to set a good example for all of our children.
Thank you, Ms. Spanberger. I didn't hear an answer there on the endorsement issue, so I want to just make sure. Will you continue to endorse Jay Jones to be the next Attorney General of Virginia? And were you aware of these text messages before they released? You have 30 seconds.
In fact, it appears that it was those who released the text messages and held them for years, so the public was unaware who had knowledge of these text messages for many years. I learned of these text messages the day that they came out, and I denounced them as soon as I learned of them.
There you go. I denounced them as soon as I learned of them, but you're not going to denounce him. See, that's the slickness of these raggedy Democrat politicians. They denounce the act, but not the people. Whenever their raggedy, radical protesters go too far, whenever they end up doing something, they always come out, I denounce the acts of violence, but they never denounce the people who's doing it. See, they don't want to offend the people who's doing it. They don't want to put the spotlight on their radicals. No, they need those guys. So now what she's doing is denouncing the text messages, but not the source. Not the source, right? I'm denouncing that bullet that pierced that person right there. But wait, who shot the bullet? Huh? But no, we're not focused on that. I denounced that bullet. I'm going, wait, the source. I want to know how that bullet got in that person over there. Who pulled that trigger? So now, here she is over here denouncing the text messages. Well, I want to hear you denounce Jim Jones.
Denounces murder. And importantly, at this point, as we move forward, the voters now have this information that was withheld for them. You're running presumably for political reasons.
So I'll kick it out to the voters, not myself. I'm going to kick it out to the voters. Now, she's in a pickle. Jim Jones done put them all in a mess. She's a horrible candidate. She's not answering nothing. She is going around the mulberry bush, and Winsome is digging into. You hear her decide that what are you talking about? That don't even make sense. So now, here's a lady who's okay with the kids, going to the other bathrooms. She won't denounce this dude because this dude done put him in a pickle because they're at the last leg. They're at the final phase of competition, and there's no replacement for this guy. So now they can't denounce him. They would rather take this evil dude over letting a Republican win that position. So now she got to go ahead and try to weasel around denouncing the guy.
But the voters now have the information, and it is up to voters to make an individual choice based on this information.
Yeah, I'm not going to go ahead and weigh in on it. I'm not going to go ahead and throw this dude under the bus, which he deserves to be. All the wheels of the bus need to go under the bus. Yeah, but they're going to ask her again. Let's see how Ms. Hamburger handles it.
Ms. Spanberger, I understand what you're saying about the voters, but for you yourself, do you still continue to endorse J. Jones?
Me?
15 seconds, yes or no?
We are all running our individual races. I believe my opponent has said that about her lieutenant governor nominee.
Ms. Earle-Sears.
And it's up to every person to make their own decision. I am running my race to serve Virginia, and that is what I intend to do.
Yeah, with your right-hand man being a sociopath. That's what you intend to do? You okay with that? See, yeah, you need somebody that evil under you to do all kind of dirty stuff that we need them to do. And we're going to see some more evil people who, for whatever reason, was elected and allowed to practice their evil while in office. See, Democrats like those evil, nasty, radical folks to be in powerful positions to where if they choose to, they can abuse their positions. We want to know that you're a fixer. We don't want a real, true, fair, and balanced, person coming in that ain't going to do some evil like who we're about to see before we get out of here. So I think she might get one more shot at the title. Here we go.
Thank you, Ms. Spanberger. We just want to clarify, what you're saying is that as of now, you still endorse J. Jones as Attorney General.
I'm saying as of now, it's up to every voter to make their own individual decision. I am running for governor. I am accountable for the words that I say, for the acts that I take, for the policies that I have put out.
Uh-oh. Now, Winsome is going to do a great job with putting that heat on her. Y'all ready for the heat? The heat is on. So now, since Ms. Hamburger didn't want to answer that question and trying to pretend like this ain't got nothing to do with me, I'm running my individual race, let the people decide. It's always somebody else. What about the kids in the bathrooms? Let the individual decide. With abortion, let the doctors and the people decide. Because, as Democrats, our policies are so evil and our people are so evil, we can't come out there and just say, that's evil. We can't denounce that. We can't be honest about how we really feel about the stuff because normal people would say, what? That's crazy. So what we do is we go around the mulberry bush and then Winsome is about to go ahead and put the heat on her.
Thank you. I am responsible for the policies I put out and the work I will endeavor to do tirelessly for the people of Governor Virginia.
Thank you, Ms. Spanberger.
Uh-oh.
Well, I think as everybody knows, I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian before I'm a Republican, and I'm required to forgive people. And it's hard sometimes when somebody has abused you, etc., but it's something you must do because not to forgive is almost like, as someone said, you drink poison thinking that it's going to affect the other person. And I want to live a decent life, and I don't want to not have peace in my life. And so as I've said before, I would not say that. So that's why I'm wondering why my opponent won't say beyond it's abhorrent and disgusting, why she won't say it is not okay and that he must leave the race because J. Jones advocated the murder, Abigail, the murder.
Sure. See, now that's when you get on them. Yeah, this is a nice tactic by Winsome. Yeah, take it from the people and turn right to her. Like, yeah, you hear me over here talking to you. Don't act like you don't know I'm over here. Don't you ignore me. So now, the woman with the bird beak, Ms. Hamburger, is looking straight ahead. Like, I don't hear nothing. I don't hear nothing. And notice the wording that Winsome is used. The murder. I'm going to make this sound as foul as possible. And I'm going to direct it straight at you and ask you, why can't you denounce this dude and tell him he needs to step down? What is it about this guy that you're willing to overlook that, Ms. Hamburger?
Of a man, a former speaker, as well as his children who were 2 and 5 years old. You have little girls. What would it take him pulling the trigger? Is that
look like whatever? Like I don't care what you're saying to me. It makes no difference to me because I'm an evil Democrat. And I would rather let this guy be the Attorney General than a Republican.
What would do it? And then you would say he needs to get out of the race? Abigail, you have nothing to say? Abigail, what if he said it about your your 3 children?
Get it personal. Make it personal. Yeah. See, but Abigail's trying to keep her composure. And there it is. She's sitting there with that long snout talking about some, I don't hear nothing.
Is that when you would say he should get out of the race, Abigail? You're running to be governor.
Jones. 3 people, 2 bullets. Gilbert, Hitler, Pol Pot. Gilbert gets 2 bullets to the head. Spoiler, put Gilbert in the crew with the 2 worst people you know, and he receives both bullets every time. Colleague. Jay, please stop. Jones. LOL, okay. I mean, do I think Todd and Jennifer are evil and that they're breeding little fascists? Yes. Colleague. You were talking about hoping Jennifer Gilbert's children would die. Jones. Yes, I've told you this before. Only when people feel pain personally do they move on policy.
Why she won't say it is not okay and that he must leave the race because J. Jones advocated the murder, Abigail, the murder of a man, a former speaker, as well as his children who were 2 and 5 years old. You have little girls.
Yeah, go ahead. Act distracted while you're writing down stupid stuff on your pad. Doodling, making it look like you're writing notes and stuff. You're probably like, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. I can't hear you. That's what you're writing on that paper right there. So Winsome done put the heat on her by looking at her and said, I can't understand why you can't just straight up come out and say that. Because this right here is another layup. But Democrats put some of the worst candidates out there that are so infested with evil, they can't even make the layups. Now we got this one, who got one of the most evil people and one of the most evil acts committed that should make you denounce and condemn him. Now understand, they bombarded Trump constantly. Do you denounce David Duke? Do you denounce the KKK? Do you denounce? Constantly. No matter how many times Trump said I denounce, they still came back with that question. Do you denounce? This right here, you don't get much eviler than this guy and what he said. And yeah, the question is, I can't understand why you can't condemn this guy, denounce him, and say, I don't want to be working with a dude like this. Now, this Democrat is saying if I become the governor, I will let a guy who pretty much said the same type of stuff that we watch all their Democrats say when Charlie Kirk got assassinated. He deserved it. That's so what, I'm happy for it. And this woman is willing to let that guy work for her because it's between him and a Republican.
Have you nothing to say about that?
Absolutely nothing. Look at her.
Are you not going to address it?
Crickets.
Really, you can't go any further. You're a governor.
Look at her. You see her face? Like, boy, my mouth is dry. Winsome is putting the pressure on me and showing everybody just how evil I am. She's showing everybody who you're going to get, what character you're going to get up there in Virginia if you vote for that chick. Go on, Virginians. Vote for, Ms. Hamburger and see what happens.
You're supposed to stand up for all the people. Are you saying political murder is all right?
Yeah.
Look, I'm from a third world country. I was born in Jamaica. And when I was 10 years old, I saw that kind of political violence, which is why I'm asking my opponent to please ask him to get out of the race, have some political courage. What you have done is you are taking political calculations about your future as governor. Well, as governor, you have to make hard choices, and that means telling J. Jones to leave the race. I have seen what it means when people are shot in the streets and thrown in the back of cars just for political purposes. I don't want to see that in America.